Now we're going to talk about strength and power specifically and how to organize your workouts if we're trying to get stronger or more powerful. So how we're going to define this is just strength is maximal activation of your muscular tissue. So this is actually more of a neurological activation thing than it is about moving load, okay? Because you can be a small person and also very strong for your size, and a very large person and very weak for your size. We just want to make sure that we're trying to get maximal activation out of the muscle that you have. However, more muscle means more activation, and mass moves mass. So if we can fuel to where we're gaining weight and we're building muscle, that means that you're going to have the ability to contract more if you have more muscle to contract. And then we need a high load and a low volume. So we're not looking to move a whole lot of reps. We're looking to do very few, but we're looking to try to get it as heavy as possible. The reason why we don't want a whole lot of volume is mostly just because that is going to put too much pressure on your connective tissue. We want to make sure that when you're moving, it's with intention and it's to build the strength, and it's not actually going to be breaking down your body too much to where you're not being able to recover from it, okay? So this is kind of how we want to think about each session, is we want 2 to 3 movements per muscle group. So let's just say that I want to work on getting my bench stronger. Then that is going to be primarily my chest, my front deltoids, and my triceps. So I want 2 to 3 movements that are going to work my primary movers, which is chest, tris, delts, and I want that for each of the muscle groups. So maybe I break it up into chest and tris and shoulders. So then I'm gonna have 1 to 5 reps if I'm focusing on strength, and then I have 5 to 8 reps if I'm focusing on power. So I'm gonna obviously lower the load and I'm gonna go fast if I'm working on power, but I just want it as heavy as possible if I'm working on strength. So if we give an example on bench press, I might just, if I want to improve my bench press, I remember there's 3 muscle groups at play. So I might do 2 chest exercises, one where I'm working on going as heavy as possible through a normal bench press, and then I'm gonna start loading up maybe a chest fly to get some extra chest, and then I'll also do a pull down with my triceps. So that means that bench gets my chest, my shoulders, my triceps. Flies just gets my chest, so that's 2 for the chest. Pull downs gets my triceps, so that's 2 for the triceps. And then I might do another accessory work for my shoulders as well. Okay, so that's kind of how we would approach any singular workout. So now let's talk about how we would break up a week if we were working on strength and power. So on Monday, let's just say that that's the beginning of our work week. We want the highest volume. So off of recovery days, that's where we can start to push a little bit more volume and do a little bit more work. Maybe I'm doing up to 8 movements in my workout. And then the next day, it's gonna be a little bit less. I'm gonna have a little bit less in me, and I'm gonna have a little bit soreness going through my joints and my muscle groups. I don't wanna work it as hard, and I also don't wanna push my nervous system and my bones and my all my connective tissue as hard. You know, it's like if you did a really heavy back squat one day, then that means that your spine, your midline, everything is gonna be fatigued from that, okay? So we also wanna think about on the days that we are coming off a rest, we can do a little bit more high intensity in the compound movements that we're doing. So maybe I'm doing a heavy back squat, which is going to be almost the entirety of my body that's being worked. And then as I move through, I want to lower and lower the intensity and get more and more specific with what I'm working, so that I don't try to put as much global stress on my body as possible. So the next day, maybe I reduce the amount of movements that I'm doing, and I'm also getting a little bit more focused. And then on my last training day on Wednesday, I'm doing more accessory work. This isn't where I'm trying to push the most weight. This is where I'm trying to make sure that my joints are healthy. So maybe I'm trying to focus a little bit more on, if I have a bum shoulder, if it's starting to bug me from my bench press, then I'm gonna start to get a little bit more accessory movements going, where I'm getting very specific in the movements, and I'm doing it with a light load, and I'm trying to build up the strength of my connective tissue and the small muscles that assist in big movements. Then I want to take a rest day. I'll do, again, after my rest day, I'm going to do a big day, and then it's going to decrease a little bit as I go on. And this is just an example. You could do 3 days on, 1 day off, but this typically works best in a 7-day setup, or if you have a typical Monday through Friday job with the weekends off, this will work pretty well. So that's what we want to focus on the strength side of things. Again, we're looking to move as much load as possible with little volume and activate the muscles as much as we can. So when you're going through strength work, full range of motion is always important, because that's going to give us the most activation. Or for example, on that bench press, instead of just coming to right above my chest, I want to come down and get as much stretch as possible, so that when I contract, it gets the most activation out of my pecs. And that's our strength.